Hello, welcome back to Shit They Don't Tell You. I'm Nikki Limo.
What's up, buddy? It's Sue Green.
And today we have for you a very special topic. You're going to really love this one. I'll tell you why. It's on the cutting edge of technology. Does that entice you at all? Are you wet?
Yeah.
Your panties are wet?
I don't wear panties.
Great. So I got Chat GPT. I don't know if it's the right one, but I got it. Because everyone on
You got it. Everyone.
On Twitter, which is now called X, so like not Twitter, but X, every fucking 5 tweets, it's like some asshole that I don't even know is in my feed being like, here's why you need Chat GPT right now.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, I guess I need it, or at least I should look at it. Because at first I'm like, the more people do that, I'm like, I don't want to learn. Like, don't tell me what to do. But then I also realized that that's what old people do. Like, throughout our lives, I've been like, how come old people are so like rigid and like opposed to like learning new things? Like, I'm never gonna be like that. I'll always want to learn like the newest thing. And now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, I'm just tired. Like, I don't want to learn the newest thing. Fair. I just want everything to stay the same because I learned it already. Yeah. And I already like want to learn a bunch of other things. Like, there's so many other things I'd like to learn that I don't want to waste brain power on having to learn this new technology. Otherwise I get left in the dust. Yeah. But
why you gotta write things off, huh? Why can't you just be open and just say, yeah, I'm not interested in that, but I'm not going to write it off?
Exactly.
That's what I think old people do too much.
Yeah, just write it off. Yeah. So like,
hey, you're on the TikToks. I don't mess with that.
Yeah, and I eventually came around to watching TikTok. I get why it's exciting too. Like, I actually really liked it in the pandemic, but the fact that to have a social media presence right now, you have to like know all the social medias and be posting on them constantly is like what overwhelmed me to the point of not knowing where to post ever at all. Like, I just don't really post at all because I never know what I'm supposed to post anymore.
Very fair.
And it's like so frustrating to me. I just want to do things my way, right? But I downloaded ChatGPT because I was like, maybe there's a way it could help me streamline my many things that I do. Okay. So like maybe it could actually work as kind of a digital assistant type thing, especially in the brainstorming process of brainstorming ideas, where I can continuously like workshop with it or take like a template that it put together and fill in my own things. And it kind of gets the gears rolling when you look at a piece of paper and you're like, I have no idea what I want to do. Right. So I started playing with it a little bit, and I was trying to come up with shit they don't tell you topics that were more like, we haven't like, I don't know, like maybe something we haven't done before. Yeah. And instead I asked it, what would you ask Nikki Limo, thinking it would like not know who I am or what to ask or whatever. Like, obviously, like, why would it know who I am? But it actually like came up with 10 questions immediately, and I didn't read them yet, but the first question talks about being a YouTuber, and then I saw Shit They Don't Tell You mentioned like as my eyes are scanning it. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm not going to read these questions. Okay. Maybe we have Chat GPT ask us anything.
Okay, I love it.
For this episode and see what it asks. I'm like really curious about what this AI knows about me.
Same.
Like, clearly it's able to access Google and like pull up a bunch of information, right? So like, what does it ask me? I just gave it a general, what would you ask Nikki Limo if she was sitting next to you?
We'll find out if Casey Neistat's right. Does ChatGPT have a soul?
Yeah. Here we go. I'm very curious. I don't know if this is interesting to anyone else, but I just thought it was.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your journey from being a YouTuber to becoming a successful entrepreneur and content creator across various platforms?
See, like, how does it know? Well, I guess like if it was able to Google Nikki Limo, but then it like puts it into a cohesive question like that, where it's like, it's not just like, you, Nikki Limo, the YouTuber, how about YouTube? What is it like? It's like it puts together like a whole, like an actual thoughtful question. That's surprising to me.
I agree.
Okay, so a Chat GPT, since you're so interested, what was the question? How did I?
It's very VidCon-y, right?
Yeah. How did I? What?
Yeah.
How did I go from being
journey from being a YouTuber to becoming a successful entrepreneur, content creator across various platforms?
So I have imposter syndrome. Don't ever think of myself as successful, and like some of my commenters would probably agree with that. But like I think that being a YouTuber for 12 years has taught me how to run my own schedule and how to like kind of be diligent about, being your own boss. It's a lot harder than you think it would be before you venture into that, but it's a skill that you'd have to have if you were to be an entrepreneur, right? And some of my entrepreneurial ventures have been like making stickers and like starting a jewelry line. And I think that you can apply similar approaches to any business you start. It's just like what it comes down to in YouTube and in all those other ventures is consistency. And I have a problem with like spreading my time out physically enough. I wish there was just more hours in the day. Like I like all the things that I have done and started, but I just don't have the bandwidth to keep up with all of them to the level they need to be in order to really boost them into success.
And
right?
I don't ever want you to. I'm afraid of what you would be like if you didn't have this.
It's like my blessing and my curse.
Yeah, it's part of who you are.
Like I'm so good at starting stuff and then having a lot of passion for like, but then like wanting to do something else, which I'm equally passionate about, but then I can't keep all the balls in the air, right?
Yeah, no.
Balls are heavy.
Especially around here.
They're easy to drop. So yeah, and that's been my journey, an ongoing journey.
When they say across
multiple platforms,
yeah.
So not successful. I don't know. I literally Mr. Magoo everything. Like I don't.
Agreed.
I don't know what I'm doing.
She's an accidental Mr. Magoo.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Listen, folks.
At all.
She's like blindfolded, walking off a platform, and someone like has a jetway there.
Oh, is that what they meant by platforms? Yeah,
That's
I know how to walk. I walk off a lot of platforms.
That's what I mean by it.
I have no idea.
I've never seen anything like it in my life.
No, couldn't tell you. I could probably look, if I got passionate enough, look up a bunch of YouTube videos on how best practices for each platform, but I still just don't think my consistency.
You don't apply those though.
I don't apply them. I can't get myself to be consistent enough to like succeed at it. I don't know.
Well, let's get to question number 2, because question number 1 is bumming us out.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
How do you manage to balance your personal life and professional commitments considering your busy schedule and multiple ventures?
How the fuck did it know I'm busy? Like that's what I'm.
Maybe it's because it's all you talk about.
I do.
Maybe all of your content is just you talking about how busy
I am,
which I think is probably your content.
Like creating more busy, and then how to organize my life, and then how to reorganize my life, and how to be more efficient. So I don't. I'm bad at everything. I'm bad at managing everything. I don't know. I have so many things going on, and I haven't even been able to update my vlog channel about all the things because there's just hasn't been time. And I sound like a broken record talking about all the time. Record, yeah. But like,
shut the fuck up and do it.
No, but I am doing it all the time.
But that's what I'm just speaking for the people who are listening. Like who are just like, shut the fuck up and do it then.
Do what? I'm doing everything all the time.
But exactly. But they don't know that. They're just like, just do it.
Do what?
Just give us the vlog.
Well, yeah. I wish it was that easy too.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's just not.
It's just
if
not.
You're on the inside, you understand, but it's just not.
Yeah, but it doesn't show on the outside because I'm doing a lot of like production stuff right now, which is like, it's very busy. But
it pays off later.
Yeah.
But like, you don't see it in the interim.
It's just like the poker. Like I was studying for hours and hours on end and it pays off later, but you don't see all the study until like, it looks like an overnight thing when it happens, right?
Which is the funniest thing.
It's so interesting. But I just am flying by the seat of my pants all the time. I try to organize a base schedule of like Monday I'm doing this, Tuesday I'm doing this, Wednesday, and like I try to stick by that, but it really just depends on how much sleep I got the night before. Like how am I able to organize my day?
Wake you up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, sometimes I just cannot get all the things done without falling asleep at my computer, so it gets pushed to the next day and the next day. I don't think I've taken a day off in a long time.
Been a minute.
But yet, publicly on my public platforms, it's not apparent.
Looks like you took years off.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, what inspired you to start your podcast, Shit They Don't Tell You, and what do you hope listeners take away from it?
So what inspired me was to talk about all the shit that they didn't tell us that I wish they would have told us. And think that, growing up, and it started off with like finances, how to buy a house, how to build good credit, how to, early dating stages, what to do when you start living with somebody, like what kind of things that you're going to encounter. And a lot of that was like vulnerable and transparent about things that we messed up on or like whatever we weren't taught, and so we had to figure out on our own. And I kind of wanted to shorten the learning curve for people, and also like let you know that you literally like you don't have to have it figured out, and sometimes that's okay and it still works out. You just have to like keep going and, you know, be willing to adapt and work with things. And I guess I'm okay with being the guinea pig of like, I'll take all the risks, tell you how it pays off, and then you can learn from my mistakes so you don't have to make the same ones. Maybe your curve will be shorter than mine. And I think that like it's maintained the same intention of the original intent. We do talk a lot more about relationship stuff just because people request that more.
Yes.
But so it used to be like a balance of finance, life, relationship, all of that, but it's geared more towards relationships now. And I guess crypto and the finance sector. But
I mean, that's a small sliver, but
yeah,
but you know, yeah, on the Patreon, yes, it's heavily crypto because like everyone's there for Crypto Corner basically. But I will say this. What I'm really personally proud of with our show is how authentic it is.
Yeah.
It's genuinely, you're like, it's like we put a camera inside of our marriage and you're getting all of it. Like someone asked us a question like 3 months ago, they're like, or it's just pre-summer. Like,
what do you, how would, I know you can't relate because you guys fuck all the time, but like how do you
how would you deal with a dry spell? And we're like, we ain't fucking right now.
Yeah.
100% not fucking right now. And we're not going to shy away from it. Like, you know, when people were like, yo, Steve and Nikki have a fake relationship, nothing's just good. Guess what? It is that good, right? Yeah. But then guess what? When like Nikki's doing World Series of Poker and like she's not home at all and like it's a fucking 115 degrees outside and like guess what? Like when she comes home, none of us want to fuck because it's so motherfucking hot.
Yeah.
And she's been gone all day. Yeah, guess what? We wasn't fucking for like a month.
Yeah.
But we're fine. But we talk about it,
right?
And
it wasn't like the desire was gone.
No.
It was like
that's the thing.
Yeah.
But like being honest, right? Being 100 about what we're going through, I think is what I'm the most proud of about.
Yeah, me too. Like I never want to lie about anything.
Never.
Like it's always going to be
only see
what it is.
And you know what? Like right now, it's kind of almost a perfect moment of like, you know, all this stuff's coming out about like the Colleen and Josh stuff, and like we were in the middle of a lot of that stuff.
A lot of people thought they had a perfect relationship.
They all knew they had a perfect relationship,
and that's how a lot of YouTube couples.
And we've been talking around that shit for years, and now it's finally out there, so it's easier for like me to comment on it. Because also, guys, like look. If we were to talk about it before, people would have just hated on us and said we're full of shit. Yeah,
because we're haters or something. Yeah. Like, and also, why would we like?
And why would we?
Why would we bring up someone else's relationship?
Yeah, never. And but now that it's out there, it's like okay, well, yeah, sure. It's
and there are quite a few people that have a public relationship because they have something to gain from it. Where like they get brand deals from it. They get brand deals together to promote stuff as a family thing or a couples thing or whatever. And so they have to put forward this like perfect picture where I think our relationship is so healthy, like the healthiest relationship I've ever seen in my life. Legit. And I wish there were more examples of that. And I think that the reason there aren't is because people grow up with either a fake facade of what a relationship is, like, and their parents fought behind the scenes, or their parents fought in front of them and it was toxic and people were like, well, I never want that. And so, you know, maybe relationships are just that was their example of, you know.
And to be so honest, folks, I can only be this honest about this because I was in those bullshit relationships. And I had to learn the hard way. Like I had to really learn the hard way, like from being in shitty relationships and then like realizing that relationships don't equal pain. Like it actually like can be net positive. And like it's actually a really beautiful thing when it is.
Well, I also looked up 10 questions for you too. So like there's, I don't know if any of that's in there too. I just want to
I understand.
Let you know.
I'm just saying like this is like why we do it. The genesis of it is to give you guys an authentic picture of, I think, so far, a working, true, authentic YouTube relationship.
Yeah.
Warts and all.
Well, I think your main point is like that's what people have been asking more about. And that's where our podcast started to lean more towards.
Yes.
But I don't think that's a bad thing for that it like strayed from the initial.
I'm actually glad it did.
Because that's actually the initial intent was to help people in the best way possible, like the most efficient way possible. And this is what the people have the most questions about and are seeming to struggle with. Because we say ask us anything. Podcast@nikki.limo. You can ask us anything about any question. And we're not experts about it.
It's about relationships.
But mostly it's about relationships. And so happy to help. I'm happy with the way that everything turned out.
Same. Next question from GPT. As a prominent figure in the digital media industry, what challenges have you faced and how have you overcome them?
Oh, ChatGPT, you make me flush. I don't think I'm prominent in the industry anymore, but challenges that I've faced.
Yeah.
I think consistency is like really hard.
Yeah. How do you overcome that?
You get burnt out and you stop doing everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it overcomes you.
Yeah, yeah.
The wave splashes on
you. Death
you.
becomes her. Yeah.
I like that.
No, like I am not burnt out on creating content. It's just that there's waves where, so YouTubers can get stuck when their format really takes off, where they're no longer into their format. Like, you know, they have a really successful format, like some catchy, like think of your favorite YouTube show, like a YouTuber that came up with it and you love them because they do this thing. It's called, you know, for example, like, you know, this doesn't mean that Jack's burnt out, but like Jack had yesterday I asked you the yes, right? And he did that for years. Well, sometimes people can have a format like that, like where it's catchy and stuff. And it's really fun the first couple of years they do it. And then they get handcuffed to it because that's all the audience wants now. And so they have to choose now between something they know will be successful because every time they try to do something else, it bombs, or like go with their heart, which is like, I still want to make content, but I'm kind of over this.
My favorite example of this is just knowing Adam, like Tay Sunday.
Yeah.
And him having to do like Cherry Chocolate Rain and like every other variation of Chocolate Rain.
Yeah.
Having to parody his own song just because the audience wants more Chocolate Rain and they don't want original works. They just want you to do more Chocolate Rain stuff.
Or there was a phase sometimes with YouTube trends, like there was a phase where everyone had to do challenges or else your video doesn't perform.
Yeah.
So then like everyone has to challenges. So you have to figure out how to do a challenge like in your way. And it was fine. I'm not saying that like it wasn't fun during that phase, but I'm so glad that that's like not something I had to be handcuffed to for a decade, you know,
exactly.
Because I don't get stimulated, or like I feel like I have to be stimulated creatively, and sometimes those videos don't do as well. And it's that balance between finding something that creatively stimulates you and that your audience likes, and sometimes it takes a while, and then you have a relationship and then you have to break up because you're just like, it's...
What was your most viral video? My question for you.
Touch My Body Challenge.
Touch My Body Challenge. And would you say that was reflective of the audience that you ended up getting?
No.
Exactly.
So people look at those metrics of success, like your videos getting a lot of views equals you are successful, but mine is the metric of happiness, like how much of my soul do I have left? And I am happy to announce that I have much of my soul left, and I'm really happy with the energy that I'm putting myself towards the projects that I'm putting my energy towards right now. It's just that I'm antsy because no one's gotten to really like see them yet.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
And it'll coagulate and stuff soon. But yeah, I'd say that's the biggest challenge is like the ebbs and flows of like really honoring the ebb and then getting into the flow naturally.
Nikki's biggest video is literally me making Nikki touch my dick the entire video for 15 minutes.
Over his pants. But like, yeah.
But you were touching it.
Yeah. And I was
And
pissed.
credit to you.
I was pissed.
Credit to you for touching
I was like, can't you just do the challenge normally?
She was so mad at me because I was...
just do it normally.
I was not going to do the challenge normally because I
was like, it's funny enough as it is.
Because I already knew that nobody cares about the challenge, that everyone wants to see that. And so I was like, let's just give them what they want. And go figure, it's your most viral video.
And the thumbnail, I made it look like you actually took your dick out.
I know, I love it. It's fantastic.
Anyway.
It's a great video.
It's demonetized anyway. But I made a lot of money for a while off of it. I think it made like $4,000 a month.
Welcome to my world.
Like for a while.
We did good on that.
It has 12 million views.
We did good on that kind of stuff.
Go for it. ChatGPT.
Okay. Damn, I just got regulated. All right. Number 5. How do you approach content creation that resonates with your audience while staying true to yourself and your values? Oh my God.
That was exactly what I just said.
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck?
That's what it says.
ChatGPT's in my head.
I know.
Well, I think I already answered that question.
Number 6, can you share any tips or advice for aspiring content creators who are looking to build a successful online presence?
Yeah, in the beginning, just do a bunch of different shit. Like, if you are blessed enough to know what niche you're in, then awesome, because the more you can just niche down, the better. But even within that niche, there's all kinds of different video types that you can do, right? You can do reviews, you can do reactions, you can do how-tos, you can do, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to want to experiment with all of those different types of format within that niche, because you're going to want to learn all of the little things that make a successful YouTube channel, which is like the thumbnail, the SEO, the titles, looking at watch time, how to trim down your intro more, how to edit, editing tricks, like how to make your video like move at a correct pacing. And thank God you won't have like thousands of people watching you at the beginning. Like, I think most people get scared because they're like, well, I don't want to mess up or look stupid in the beginning. But that's when you're supposed to look stupid. Yeah. You will look stupid. Everyone looks stupid. And then you look back and you're like, oh, I was so stupid.
I do remember, though, it is interesting. This is a good point, because I do remember being at Maker Studios, right? And if you don't know, Maker Studios was a big MCN. It was the first MCN, huge channel network of a bunch of people, right? Blah, blah, blah. But what I remember is some people who knew the people who were running the thing getting thrown into the fire that way. And like, it was pressure on maximum volume all the way up from minute one. So like, they can't just make their first video in a vacuum. They have to make their first video in front of everyone in the brightest lights of the sun.
That was me.
Right.
I had 50,000 subscribers before I put out my first video.
Exactly.
So like,
and it's unfair.
And so I felt like the caliber at which they found me, the type of videos they found me from, were these high production videos, right? And I didn't have access to any of that.
Making videos in your apartment.
And so it was terrifying to make a first video, because it's like they expect me to be up here, but I've never done this before, so I'm like down here, but I'm not allowed to like be a newbie. Right.
Or so it seems, because we don't even necessarily know what the audience wants, right?
Yeah.
Like
who knows?
That's another thing. It's a fog of war.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's why I say just do it. Just do things and don't worry about looking stupid. You can always delete your videos later.
Exactly.
Like, it's not going to, it really won't be a big deal. People won't remember how stupid you used to be.
No, they truly don't. Honestly, they don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Good answer. I like that answer.
Thank you.
Number 8, what are some of the most valuable lessons you've learned throughout your career, and how have they shaped your approach to life and work?
I think just not caring so much about like one way or another what people think about you.
That's the biggest one for you.
It's a pitfall for sure. Like if it's a sensitive topic, like something that I am very vulnerable about, that I think that people can misunderstand easily, and I get very in my head about whether or not I'm articulating it well enough to be understood. And then if people don't miss it and they do comment like the thing I'm scared of them commenting or whatever, like it can get in your head. But I think getting through the worst of that, like when you do have a video that goes viral and doesn't go to like your main audience, it goes to like the ether where there's just like fuck tons of hate comments. I think it like does build stronger skin, like thicker skin, where in life even, like, I feel like I've had the worst things hurled at me already. Like, I feel like you can't say anything more hurtful than the bombardment of things that people have said about me on the internet.
Fair. How does it shape your approach?
How does that shape my approach?
Yeah.
To talk about things I truly am interested in.
Yeah.
Even if it's not going to do well, or like, I don't know what's going to do well because the algorithm has a mind of its own. But like, for example, I'm really into, I bought this like little mini filmmaker course for like $30. And I have all this equipment, but I don't know how to use it properly because I bought it when I had a camera guy and I just let him do it.
Got it.
Right. And so like he set up the lighting. I just bought the lights. He did the camera work. I just bought the camera. Right. And so I never learned how to use all this equipment that I have. And I felt inspired to make videos that are pretty, that like kind of capture the tone that I feel inside, which is like a playlist of like whimsical, like indie rock music, right? I feel like a main character of an indie film. Indie, yeah. Right, yeah. And so like I would like that to be a tone that shows up in my videos, but I don't know how to create that because I have to learn how to use my cameras properly. So I've been experimenting with that, and just I want to do a video about the fish that I got gifted and this whole saga that happened after it. And I want it to be shot like cinematically. So I started like, shooting that. And I don't think a fish story video is going to go viral or like going to really do numbers or anything. But guess what? It's making me happy to like think about how I'm gonna narrate this video and like what I'm gonna tell you, because it's like it's a stupid dramatic saga about a fish, and now multiple fishes are involved and multiple fish tanks, and I didn't ask for this. I was burdened with a new hobby.
Love it.
And I want to express it using the hobby I am passionate about, which is learning how to use my camera equipment and make cinematic looking shots.
Can't wait.
So yeah, that's gonna happen, and I don't care if people don't like it, because it's making my heart happy.
You don't care if they like your fish story or not?
The video.
Your fish story.
My fish story video.
Yeah. You don't care if they like it or not.
Because I just released a vlog on my vlog channel of me cutting my hair, which I did think like people would like, because it's crazy.
Yeah.
But, it's not like that's doing above average numbers. Hey,
people are just happy to see you again.
Yeah, exactly. But I was excited to make that video because I was like, this is a crazy thing that's happening in my life right now. Anyway. I think I go based off of that rather than what will do numbers. And a lot of YouTubers have the opposite approach, and they're much more successful than me. So what do I know?
So true.
I just have different goals.
You have been open about your experiences with mental health. How has this journey...
How does it know that?
I don't know. How has this journny influenced your work and the messages that you share with your audience?
You make me cry, GPT. I think that
I think that we're going to go on a break, and then she's going to answer this question. Because that was perfect. We'll be right back.
Cool. As I'm like about to cry.
Exactly.
Hey, thanks for listening to our podcast. We just want to take a break to tell you thanks for listening to our podcast. And if you want to rate it, that would be really awesome for us.
Listen, we're on break. We're not talking to you like podcast hosts right now. We're just talking to you like people.
As a friend.
And we just want to say, please rate the show, because it helps out huge amounts.
Like, we're not desperate. We're like kind of desperate.
We're giving shout outs right now to all the people who are giving it ratings. So huge shout out right now to Brian Jorgensen. That was sick of you, dude. Thank you. God bless. Huge shout out right now to Mark W. in Springfield, Connecticut.
Back to our podcast.
Jenny Blyke.
Hey, back to our podcast.
In Tuscany,
and
Florida.
Back to our podcast.
God bless you. Thank you.
Steven.
Thank you for supporting the show.
Yeah, I mean, I think that depression is always ongoing, but it's something that's not I think the more that you know yourself, and the more that you work on yourself and work with your quote unquote ailments, they like maybe aren't as much of an ailment as you thought they were. Maybe they're part of what makes you. Like, I don't know the Nikki without depression and anxiety, but I know like what I've done with those things that have actually, I think, deepened the work that I've done, as much as I sometimes wish I didn't have it, you know?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that.
I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes so much sense.
Like, I have anxiety all the time, but like, maybe it makes me do things.
It does.
Like, you know, like,
I've always said you have the most fucked up process I've ever seen.
It is, but it's mentally fucked up. Yeah.
But it gets shit done. It's weird. You have to mosh sometimes to like get through your mental. I
have to lay in the closet in the dark sometimes.
Yeah, she has mental firewalls that sometimes she has to like thrash to get through. But then when she gets through them, it just becomes part of her process, like how she gets shit done. It's weird. It's fucked up.
It's really weird. It's like I have to like emotion it all out until I'm empty, and then I start from like this empty creative place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What would you say about the mental health part of it, though? Like, how does it influence your work?
I think that learning to work with it has become part of my work. Like, I talk about on Shit They Don't Tell You, which is my work. I talk about how I've organized stuff through journaling, which is part of my work. I've kind of just turned my life into my work, which is a weird thing. And I didn't even realize that I had done that until, I don't know, a few years ago, where I'm like, when people are like, what do you do? Or like, when do you take time off or whatever? And I'm like, it's kind of all mixed together.
Right.
Like, when I'm going through something, it shows up in my work. And I talk about it transparently, and it's kind of cathartic in that way of getting to not only express it, but then have other people relate to it and say that it helped them just to hear someone else went through the same thing.
Yes.
And so that's really like why I wanted this podcast in the first place, was that like, I know that hearing other people go through something that I think that I'm alone in made me feel not alone anymore, and that like, I'm not broken and crazy because that person is going through the same thing too, and they're really successful. So like, you know, it's kind of like a pay it forward thing.
I love it.
Thanks.
You want to take a sec? It's really beautifully put, really.
Thank you. I didn't mean to cry.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. Also, didn't say this before, but yeah, nothing helps the show more than helping us out on
Mark, play like that Sarah McLachlan tune. Like if I'm crying, like you gotta use it so we can monetize. Like
patreon.com/sticky. Nothing helps the show more.
Depressed that you're not going to our Patreon.
There you go. Yeah, look. No,
I'm just kidding.
You get the show a day early on there.
You get live streams.
You get live streams. I do a show called
poker tournaments
every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We talk about crypto.
And we have a sick ass Discord community. I love them.
The best ever. Talk about not feeling alone. We love those guys. And
and they all talk about. They're all very open about like mental stuff.
We got very lucky.
ADHD and all kinds of stuff. Everyone's like they're just so cool in there. I love them.
Everyone's super transparent. And everyone's kind of looking for themselves, I think.
Yeah.
In a beautiful way.
A beautiful journey of discovery.
So the next question is from GPT, and they say, what are some of the most valuable lessons you've learned throughout your career, and how have they shaped your approach to life and work?
Valuable lessons from my career.
Like a reformation of something you answered
exactly.
already?
I feel like I already answered. Like it's just like entrepreneurial skills.
This is where I'm with Casey Neistat. I'm like,
maybe ChatGPT doesn't know that they're rewording the same kind of question.
I'll get to the next one.
Okay. Yeah, because I asked it about you too, because I was like, maybe it knows me, but doesn't know Steve.
Well, we'll find out. Number 10, what are your future goals and aspirations, both personally and professionally?
I hope that I always follow the call. Like, as scary as it is the scariest thing, but I think the more that I follow the call over the logical thing to do, the logical thing to do would be keep doing Tasty Tuesdays forever. And, but when I went to go film Tasty Tuesdays, I would be filled with anxiety sometimes. And I'm like, maybe I'm supposed to explore something else. Yeah. And so the more I did, the more I found like sparks of passion and desire. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm being called this direction, but I'm being called there for whatever reason. And the more that you listen to that, the more you get tapped into your own intuition. And I think that everyone has it. And I think that most people are taught to ignore it. And it's the biggest fallacy to the human existence. I think that we all are genius at something, and that we constantly have a guiding light and voice that is telling us to what direction to go. But we just got programmed to ignore it because it doesn't make sense logically with the way our society is constructed. But if you do just listen to it, I swear to God, miracles seem to happen. And I don't think that they're miracles. I just think that they're you listening to that voice and the universe supporting you.
Love that.
Yeah. I think it's your turn now.
I guess it is.
Yeah. Does it say Steve?
I'm going to hand you the phone.
Okay.
So you can read it.
So I was like, it probably doesn't know who Steve is, because when I asked Alexa who Nikki Limo was, it knew all about me. But I was like, who's Steve Green? And it's like, I don't know. He's married to Nikki Limo.
Singer. Well, they think I'm a folk singer. Yeah. It's unfortunately more of a generic common name.
Luckily, ChatGPT.
Nikki Limo is actually a fake name. It's not her real name.
It's just more catchy and it's more unique.
It's fake. More fake.
It's not fake now. Literally, legally, it's my name.
Well, Nikki Limo Green.
Nicole Limo.
But Green.
Green. Yes.
So I conquered you.
I just
Nikki wanted to point that out.
Anyway, Steve, maybe you don't want very much time for your questions, I guess. Luckily, ChatGPT did know a lot more than Alexa does. I think Alexa's stupid, to be honest, but it's fine. She's smarter than Siri.
Yeah.
Anyway,
agreed.
Steve says, as a multi-talented content creator,
shut the fuck up.
How do you manage to consistently come up with fresh and engaging ideas for your videos and podcasts?
I have one talent. I have one talent. One.
What's your one talent?
I honestly, I'm okay. I have two talents.
So you're multi-talented. Okay, that's multi.
I can write probably anything.
Yeah.
For a long period of time, and I cannot quit on it. And I'll just write it.
And you can write in other people's voices.
I can write in other people's voices, but I had to learn that. That's not a talent.
Okay, it's still you have that.
I had to grind that skill out.
It's a skill that you
It's a skill I had to grind out.
Yeah. It's a talent you discovered.
I actually think that's one of the talents I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
I can write in other people's voices.
Okay, so first you say it's not a talent, now you're saying it's a talent that you're proud of.
I think I'm proud of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had to grind it out. And I actually, You know, like finding out that you suck at something is the most important part of something, I think, if you want to get good at it.
That's why a new YouTuber should just start fucking doing things.
You should just
start making stupid videos.
Because realizing that I could not write in other people's voices and I was just putting my stupid fucking voice into everything, it was just so annoying as shit. Like once I realized I was doing that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, right. Okay. How would I say it if I was actually like, if you're a good writer, can't you speak in the character's voice? And then that was a breakthrough for me. Big time breakthrough for me. And anytime you have a breakthrough, it's kind of like when you're in outer space and like, you know, not that I just watched Interstellar recently. I actually haven't watched it in years. But like if you want to move forward in space, you have to leave something behind. It feels like that. It's like you have to leave behind all this bullshit you thought about writing if you're going to move forward.
So you're going to get stuck in a black hole like Matthew McConaughey's?
No. It's about momentum.
Okay.
Move something behind. Leave a lot of weight behind if you're going to truly propel forward. I had to, you know, every breakthrough that you have, I think you leave a significant amount of weight behind.
Yeah.
While you propel into this next thing.
Yeah. It's like you no longer need the launch pads.
Yeah. And you no longer need the old method. You got through it and you figured out a better way. Nice. So yeah, look, and yeah, I do think, you know, thankfully I can talk for quite a while about something.
Okay.
But only if I care about it.
Well, it didn't ask you about your multi-talents. It just said, how do you use that to consistently come up with fresh and engaging ideas for your videos and podcasts?
Well, I just care about what I talk about. I mean, honestly, that's it. I think, you know, more people should really just focus on that if they want to do anything in life. Like, why can I talk about crypto for 3 hours a week every Tuesday, no matter the fuck what, right? And I've been doing it for years. It's because I love it. I love this shit. I'm doing it anyway. I'm doing it already. I'm doing it when I'm not doing Crypto Corner.
Yeah, I can't wait to do it.
Crypto Corner is me just doing what I'm doing already on Tuesday night.
See, I think that's the key, is finding the thing that you can't wait to do.
Exactly. And I genuinely can't wait to do it.
Which leads me to question number 2. Yeah. Can you share some insights into your creative process and how you collaborate with others to bring your ideas to life?
So my creative process, if I'm writing something, is just to... well, what's the goal? What's the goal with it? What are we writing?
Well, I mean, it sounds like how you collaborate with others to bring your ideas to life. Like you have a tattoo because you collaborate with others to bring their ideas to life. Yeah. As a team, I feel like I want to contribute to your answers.
You should.
Like you are such a good leader. And that's
I'm a reluctant
talent
that
leader. You think is obvious because it comes to you so naturally. To pull the best out of other people and bring those juices to life, to maybe put it all in a smoothie and make it taste good.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm a reluctant leader, I would say. Every time I have in the past become a leader, it's through a moment, I would say, of vengeance. Like when I was in grade school, I'll never forget the first time I was forced into a leadership position. It was when someone in my class, they were asked by the teacher to create like a newsletter for the class. She's like, hey, I want like a little hint of journalism here. I want to have a newsletter about the class, and like I want people to like read about like what's going on in the class. And I asked my buddy, I was like, hey, can I write for this? And he said, nah, she asked me to do it, and I'm going to do it with this guy. And I was like, cool, fuck you, dude. I'm going to do my own. I'm going to do my own, and I'm going to release it faster than you release yours. And I hired 6 kids instead of fucking just one guy. And I released my newsletter. He never even got to release his newsletter because by the time I released my newsletter was the only newsletter that anyone was talking about. And I went into competition because I'm so petty. Yeah. I went into competition with the teacher who picked this guy instead of me. Yeah. So Miss Souders picked this guy instead of me, and I created the Texera Times. So he had like the Souders Sentinel or some shit. I had the Texera Times about like our class newsletter, and like I just fucking blew his newsletter out of the water, and they were too humiliated to even release it because I already had released mine like within like fucking 9 days.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm just a petty motherfucker.
I didn't know you were like so into writing back then.
Oh yeah. I've been. Oh, dude. I got into when I was in 6th grade. I joined the journalism class. Like that was like the first class I joined as an elective. Yeah. As an after school elective. Yeah. Because I knew my mom would. She's so obsessed with watching the Oprah Winfrey Show. She wouldn't even be picking me up on time anyway. So I had at least an hour and a half to burn. So I joined the journalism class because I was like, well, at least I can just learn something about journalism. Yeah. In the meantime, because my mom's gonna be so late picking me up, and she was every time. So like and in my journalism class, people were pissed at me. And this is when I learned to like chill out a little bit. If you're going to be cool and you're ever going to get laid and like have fun, like with girls, you need to just chill out, because I was like writing like 4 articles, like in an hour. And like everyone there is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, fuck you, dude. Right. Like it was like, come on, dude, what the fuck? Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, well, aren't we in journalism class to write articles? So I was just trying to like,
I didn't know you were that astute. That's not the Steve Green picture.
A petty motherfucker is what I'm trying to say.
I know.
I'm petty.
But this is like an after school program that you're volunteering to do.
Yeah, but people doubted me. If you doubt me, I will bring it in ways that make no sense to even me.
I learned that. Like, that's why sometimes I doubt him on things.
I know. See, exactly.
On purpose.
No, exactly. She knows to use the momentum, but it really is a real thing. It's been part of my entire life. And
you don't say.
I know.
Okay, you've been involved in various comedy projects throughout your career. What draws you to comedy, and how do you navigate the fine line between humor and sensitivity?
I hate everything. You
don't navigate that fine line.
No, but I also love everything. Love everything. I really do. Yeah. And I see the both. And I just see the fallacy in the things that we love, and I see the love in the things that we hate. And I really do find there to be a joy in that in between space, the context of those two things, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
And it's entertaining to me, wildly entertaining to me. And if I can counterpoint something that everyone's pointing, I can't wait to, because it's funny to me. And I've done that forever. I've done that since I was a little kid. Like, I just find it so interesting that everyone thinks a certain thing. And if I can poke any holes at it, the way that it like upends their worldview, and like I watch fireworks go off in their head and they can't handle it. The fact that they were like embracing that idea so hard that they can't handle this little kid coming up with like maybe a reason why their idea of their idealized world is stupid. Yeah. Why were you clinging onto it so hard? Right. Yeah. That's I find that to be very funny.
They write an article about it.
Yeah, exactly. But I find that to be very funny.
Yeah, yeah.
And it all goes back. I mean, throughout so many examples, blah blah blah. But I'll never forget my mom getting almost sued by the ACLU because the American Civil Liberties Union, because she had the audacity to tell everyone there was a pedophile in my neighborhood and that he was violating his parole talking to young kids, aka her son and his friend group, me and my buddies. And like the fact that the world found this to be so controversial at the time, like a lot of people were on our side. Obviously our neighbors were and stuff. Yeah. But I was on the inside of the story. I remember seeing on the inside of the story and being like, wow, I can't believe that anyone thinks this is controversial at all. But there was a lot of people on the outside who were like yelling at my mom, how dare she? She's calling out this man. He's a victim and all shit. I'm like, this guy like literally was trying to get with my friend group and me. Right. But everyone's so sure that my mom is full of shit and just calling out this guy because he's trying to exist. Right. And I'm like, dude, this guy was like coming up to us with his moped, and he was like doing bike races against us with his moped. And so like we would beat him on our bikes because he wasn't gunning his moped. Yeah, like he was letting you in. Getting in, right? Getting in our friend group, making himself seem cool and shit. And then he joined like a karate class that I was in and shit. That's weird. Yeah, the guy's fucking out there. But like I said, people who are on the outside of the story, they're so sure that my mom is doing something fucked up. Yeah, I don't get how people can have such a staunch opinion. But knowing that staunch opinion, it changes the way that you see everything after that, I promise you. Once you see the entire media landscape talk about something in such a way, and you know what's going on, you never see things the same way. I think that's the thing, is that we both like constantly have been on the inside of things, not able to like really say, because there's no way for the people on the outside to understand without like throwing people under the bus or like, you know, really getting into it. But like, it's also sometimes the truth is so crazy that you seem like a lunatic for like telling people like what the truth is. So it's better to just like not even say anything. And I'm not saying there was no love for my mom, because there was, but like we definitely, like, I think being early to all this stuff, we're focusing on the negative more because that was what we were hearing about more. And then, you know, my family's going to get sued by the ACLU. We have no money compared to them. We're fucked. It's crazy. So it was just scary, scary, scary things. And like all my mom did was the right thing, in my opinion. Did you win the case? Did you guys settle or what? Like, how did that work? They didn't end up pursuing it because of whatever. I don't know why, but they didn't end up pursuing it.
So scary because
it was so scary.
Can't pay legal fees. Then you lose by default.
We thought we were gonna have to sell our house and all kinds of stuff.
Crazy.
We didn't know. We just didn't know.
Good for your mom.
She just is a badass, man.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know her own strength.
Strong woman.
She's the strongest woman I know.
Okay, number 4. How do you handle criticism or negative feedback, and what advice would you give to aspiring creators who may face similar challenges?
Know thyself, right? And it's so important to know yourself so that if you get negative feedback, it's like, well, I know what I meant. It's fine. But if you meant something and then you hear someone think something else, it's okay to correct that and be like, oh, I think I miscommunicated the way I was talking about something and I fucked up and I'm sorry. Here's what I meant. I'm sorry. Oh shit, I didn't know it was sounded like that. I'm so sorry. I think that's okay too.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. So don't let that control you, but you're allowed to just like say, oh, hey, oops. I didn't mean to say it like that.
I didn't mean it and I own it. I can't wait to own it.
Yeah.
But if I agree with that, I fucked up.
Number 5 from GPT asks, your podcast, The Basement Yard, has gained a significant following.
So they don't know me.
This was all for the Steve Green that hosts The Basement Yard. Unless you have a secret podcast. Okay. I was hoping I was hoping because it says it's super successful and it has a significant following. Wow. I was like, oh, damn.
I don't have one called The Basement Yard.
Okay. Damn. All right. Well, ChatGPT, sorry.
That's what happens when there's 55,000 Steve Greens in North America.
Can't tell you what resonates with listeners.
We'll figure it out.
Number 6, can you discuss your experience transitioning from traditional media to digital platforms and how it's impacted your career and creative opportunities?
Dude, I didn't do that.
It just seems like that because IMDb.
I didn't go from traditional media to. I went from
traditional training to digital. But yeah, you've collaborated with many creators over the years. How do you approach these collaborations, and what do you look for in potential partners?
Pass.
Yeah, you collaborated with a bunch of creators because that was what everyone did.
We
were all just in the circle. Everyone asked,
liked it.
You be in my video? Will you be in my video?
Everyone had to
Will you be in my video? I need someone for my video.
I actually, you know what I never really did is have people in my videos. I was always in other people's videos. I never had people in my videos usually.
Why didn't you ask them to be in your videos?
Because I didn't think they could do it.
That's true.
Only because, and it's not.
Yeah, your type of videos.
I'm not so good at it or whatever.
It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. And
I was in some of your videos and it made me uncomfortable.
And it was a nightmare for you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make people have to do the uncomfortable thing. I'm actually a pretty polite person, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, you had a way bigger.
Because of my mother.
You had a way bigger channel, and I was still like, yeah, I don't know if I wanted.
I had what on your channel?
You had a way bigger channel. It would have been beneficial to collaborate and like try to get people to come on my channel.
And having you on one time, it was a nightmare for you.
I just was, it was real. It was really uncomfortable.
The problem with my channel is it was real. And that sucks for people because it's hard to do the real thing with real people who don't know what's going on. And so Nikki having to do that, it was a nightmare for her.
Yeah. It's facts.
I had her pretend to be like a hooker basically.
Yeah.
And like guys were coming up to her and saying a bunch of shit. And then I was coming up to them being like, sir, do you realize that you're trying to solicit a prostitute? And these guys were like, yo, what the fuck? I wasn't doing shit. And it was all completely real.
You pretend to be like a secret cop.
Yeah, I was pretending to be like an undercover cop or whatever. Or an undercover like city volunteer, like one of those assholes. Like, I'm a volunteer, sir. Sir, I'm a volunteer. Volunteers know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Like those guys.
So you're under civil arrest?
Yeah, the civic arrest guys, yeah.
Yeah. What are some of your most memorable moments or projects in your career so far, and why do they stand out to you?
I mean, just doing my YouTube channel obviously is probably the thing I'm most proud of, I would say.
It's a memorable.
Yeah, but it's because I did it the right way, I feel like. And I know that there's a lot of shame going to prank channels right now, but I'm like, dude, I like all my shit. I'm happy about all of it. There's like, very few videos I did that I'm like, I don't like that. But as far as like projects that are, maybe more mainstream, it's tough to gauge now because so much time has gone by.
Right.
But I am happy that I did my like dream things. Like I made a movie, I got to star in a movie, like internet famous, and like that was maybe one of the best and worst things that ever happened to me because I had it happen so fast. And once it happens, like it's like, oh shit, I did that. That's what I wanted to do. Was
there like a moment though that was like the most memorable?
having my family go to the premiere of that was big. Yeah.
Cool.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge.
That's great.
I always, because my dad took us to movies all the time as kids, and my whole family went to movies all the time as kids. I got obsessed with movies that way. And then having them come to my own movie was like insane. For sure.
Yeah. I know that was definitely a big moment for you, because I remember early in our relationship, you're like, yeah, they haven't come out to see anything I've done yet.
They snubbed most of my stuff.
Like Smiley was in theaters.
Yeah, they snubbed it. Like it's fine. We get over it. We got over it. But yeah, no, it was upsetting that I don't know what the fuck. It's fine, but
you're over it now.
I'm over it now.
Yeah. Can you share any upcoming projects or goals that you have for the future, and what can your fans look forward to?
I don't do that. I think that the telling you about my secret project, but I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, is lame. I do have something that I'm working on, but I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to do the thing that I said I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
All right. This is the last question. Lastly, what advice would you give to individuals who are passionate about pursuing a career in content creation or entertainment?
Start from zero and just do it, and just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And once you commit to doing it, don't stop doing it.
You know, and if you find something like your passion leads you to something that wasn't in your original picture, you know, let your heart go there, because
you never know.
Because like when we grew up, there was no YouTube, right? There was no digital content creation. There was no influencer. There was no any of this. And I think both of us pushed against it for a little bit, because it seemed like a fake version of the entertainment industry, right?
We were told it was.
Yeah. And we were told by all the managers, agents, all that, like, if you go that route, like that's like not real. It's not authentic. It's not unionized. It's bad. And now it's like when you ask teenagers what they want to be, that's a huge legit career that like they want to be influencers or YouTuber. They want to be a YouTuber. They want to be an influencer. They want to, like, it's a whole career that didn't exist before. And I partly wish that I wasn't so attached to like what my ideal career was, because it wasn't invented yet, you know?
Yes.
When I actually realized that, because I was like, yeah, I have a following on YouTube and I put YouTube videos up, but I want to be an actor, you know? And when I actually got to be like a lead in a show for a few weeks, it was like this independent this like digital web series. I was like a lead in it. It was a really funny series, but you're there 14 hours a day, and they use you like maybe for 2 or 3 hours of that, and the rest of the time you're just waiting. It's like a hurry up and wait thing, but you got to stay in character, you got to stay in the scene, you got to stay in the moment, and it's a lot of training, a lot of auditions, a lot of it just to be on set for 14 hours a day, kind of wishing that you were making your YouTube videos at home.
Yeah.
And then I realized like maybe I kind of like being a YouTuber.
Yeah, I think I'm such a control freak too.
Yeah.
And I like when it comes to creative sometimes that I was disappointed by the process. You know what I mean? Like you write something and then it has to go to the next person, the next person, the next person, the next person. And that's how something actually gets made. And it's never going to be the way that you envisioned it. And it's actually going to be better because of that, actually. You kind of learn the hard way to cede control of something so it can become better. Because your idea initially is not executable. Like always, right? Like if you look at Star Wars, right? Like George Lucas had to get guys to come in and do concept art for the ships that he was thinking about. Because George Lucas was like, hey, I took this idea so far. Now I need someone to come in and like take the baton and like you handle it now. And I went to this other guy, and this other guy, like he you know, drew the Millennium Falcon, right? And like it was like unbelievable. And like something George Lucas could have never like drawn or come up with, right? And once you learn that seeding control, being a control freak and then seeding control can lead to beauty.
Yeah.
You realize how art gets made.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It's really hard though.
Yeah.
It's hard to
I still struggle with that.
You have to learn that, yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think how do you think Chat GPT did?
Better than I thought, but I still didn't do that podcast, so that's disappointing. Because it's almost like I answered a bunch of questions for some other Steve Green, which I probably did.
Maybe you learned, like, you know,
humility.
Be more unique.
Humility.
Be more, because all of mine were definitely for me.
I should have, you know what I should have done is change my name to Steve Green with 3 E's on the end. Because then everyone would know.
Everyone would know. And then I'd have a more embarrassing last name that I had to marry into.
Yeah.
greeny. And it's like, no, actually it's just green. It just has,
aren't you Mrs.
It has an obnoxious amount of E's at the end.
Hi, Mrs. Green. We're with the electric company.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's just regular green, but it's spelled obnoxiously.
It sucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think that ChatGPT worded my questions like sometimes they were like repeat questions, and like it tried to get away with that. But like other than that, I was really shocked that it could not only pull the information but put it into questions that were kind of thoughtful.
But good thing we didn't have to pay ChatGPT, or we would have said, "Hey, come on, we caught you."
Yeah,
trying to do 2 questions.
Yeah.
Two different bullet points with the same question. Come on.
I can understand now, like how I didn't have to come up with any of those questions, but if I had a guest, it kind of nailed it. Like I didn't have to do any research on that guest, and that guest would have been like, "Oh, here's how I felt." Unless like it said that project, like if I said like, "Oh, how was your podcast, The Backyard? That's doing so great," and they're like, "I never."
What the fuck is
not
that?
My project.
What is that?
So look, a little bit of kinks to work out, but other than that,
kinks to work out.
I think that was good.
We didn't get to talk about kinks,
and you know what? I am happy with the information that came out, the conversation. I'm quite pleased. The fodder that it generated.
Yes.
I appreciate that. And next week, maybe you can ask us something. And if you have a question you would like to ask as a human being, not an AI, but if you're an AI, you can ask
Don't be fake like AI is.
You can ask us at podcast@nikki.limo. That's NIKKI.LIMO. And we will go through your questions at the same way where I don't read them beforehand. So it's a surprise for everybody. Yay.
Hooray.
All right.
And with that, we'll see you on the next one.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.